The desert air was cold in the early morning, but Ryan Carter felt the familiar burn of anticipation in his chest. The young private adjusted his helmet, tugged the straps of his vest, and tightened the laces on his boots. At 21, he was the youngest in his platoon, but he carried himself like someone who'd lived twice his years. He had joined the army straight out of high school, driven by two forces, the shadow of his father's military service and a quiet vow he'd made to his mother the day he shipped out: "I'll come back home, no matter what." Life at the forward base was a blend of exhaustion and repetition: wake before dawn, train, patrol, eat when you could, and try to sleep through the distant thunder of gunfire. Some men joked to pass the time, others stayed silent, lost in their thoughts. Ryan kept a secret weapon, a folded letter tucked inside his uniform pocket. The letter was from Emily, the girl from his hometown who'd known him since they were both kids building treehouses in the summer. In neat handwriting, she had written, "No matter where you are, I'll be looking at the same stars you see. That way, we'll never be far apart." It wasn't just a letter. It was the heartbeat that kept him moving forward when exhaustion threatened to pull him under. One dusty afternoon, orders came in. Their squad was to escort a convoy of supply trucks through a narrow valley. It was a route known for ambushes. The men readied themselves in quiet concentration, checking weapons and loading gear. The convoy rolled out, engines growling in the silence. The sun beat down hard, baking the sand until it shimmered in the distance. Ryan's eyes scanned every rock, every shadow. He knew danger could be anywhere. Halfway through the valley, the calm shattered. A deafening crack of gunfire echoed through the canyon walls. Bullets tore through the air, pinging off the sides of the trucks. Shouts erupted as soldiers scrambled for cover. Ryan hit the ground behind a large boulder, his rifle up and ready. Through the dust and chaos, he spotted Corporal Hayes pinned in the open, lying flat as rounds kicked up dirt inches from his head. Without hesitation, Ryan sprinted into the firestorm. The world blurred into flashes, the whiz of bullets, the grit in his teeth, the pounding of his boots. He grabbed Hayes by the vest and dragged him behind cover, both of them gasping for breath. They exchanged a quick nod, no words, just the silent understanding of men who'd just stared death in the face together. But before they could regroup, an explosion ripped through the valley. The blast hurled Ryan backward, slamming him into the ground. His ears rang, his vision swam, and in the haze, he saw only one thing clearly: Emily's face, smiling in the photograph he carried. The sounds of battle faded into a dull roar as darkness swallowed him. When Ryan opened his eyes, he wasn't in the desert anymore. The blinding white ceiling above him told him he was in a hospital. The smell of antiseptic hung heavy in the air, and his left arm was strapped in a sling. A dull ache pulsed in his ribs with every breath. "You're lucky, kid," a nurse told him, adjusting the IV drip. "That blast could have taken you out." He learned that his unit had made it through the valley. The convoy was safe. Hayes had survived, because of him. Ryan had earned a medal, though he didn't care much for the ribbon. What mattered was that the promise to his mother was still alive. Days bled into nights as he healed. Sometimes, he'd stare out the window, searching for the stars Emily had written about. He wondered if she still looked up at them too. One evening, the nurse walked in with an envelope. The handwriting on the front stopped Ryan's breath. "Ryan, they told me, you're safe. I don't have the words for how grateful I am. You've always been the boy who runs toward the fire when everyone else runs away. I'm proud of you. I'll be here when you come home, just like I promised. The stars are beautiful tonight. I hope you can see them too. Emily." Ryan held the letter to his chest, feeling the weight of her words. For the first time in weeks, a smile crept onto his face. Months later, after endless therapy sessions and slow, painful steps toward recovery, the day finally came. The train pulled into his small hometown station. Everything looked exactly as it had before: the quiet streets, the smell of fresh bread from Mrs. Harper's bakery, the sound of children playing somewhere nearby. And there she was, Emily, standing by the platform in a light blue dress, her eyes shining with tears. Ryan dropped his duffel bag without a thought and wrapped her in his arms. "I told you I'd come back," he whispered. "And I told you I'd be here," she replied, holding him tighter. That night, they lay on the grass outside town, looking up at the stars. And Ryan realized the truth: the fiercest battles weren't just fought in deserts or valleys, they were fought in keeping your promises, even when the world tried to tear them away.